So please welcome to the show, Mike Cotayo.
I felt like I was playing peekaboo behind the curtain, like trying to come out. Should I? I heard him call my name, but he wasn't quite done. How are you guys doing? It's awesome to be here. As you could tell, I'm disabled. I walk kind of funny, and my hand looks like I should be a waiter. But my legs don't. So I've had several operations on my arm, and this is all I could do. I was born left-handed. Seriously, people, all I want to do is jerk off with the high end that God intended me to. Thank you, ma'am. She gets it. So this is what I do normally. I get up here and I tell jokes, but I'm going to try something different. I'm going to tell you all about a little story that happened to me when I went to the Holocaust Museum. It was 1995. So there were no cell phones. People communicated by Morse code. And I was in college, and I had this professor who taught a class called Literature of the Holocaust. And I'm not Jewish. At the end of the class, I don't know why I needed to state that. It's relevant. At the end of the class, he said, I'm taking a group of people to the Holocaust Museum, and I'm opening it up to the class. I'm the only college student that went. So there we are on a bus, me and a bunch of 80-year-olds. And I was really the only Gentile bisexual on that bus, although Mildred Morgenstern did look kind of freaky. She was giving the knowing wink to Zelda, you know what I mean? So I was the reason I went on this trip is I was obsessed with the Holocaust. Like, I loved learning about it. I loved hearing about it. I wanted to, there were so many people who did so many terrible things to other people, and those people, whether or not they died, were survivors, and I wanted to see what that was like. So on that bus ride down, that 6-hour bus ride from Purchase, New York to Washington, D.C., I learned a lot about the Holocaust. I learned a lot about these people who had family members that were there. Some were there themselves. And I soaked it up. And then when we got to D.C., we stayed in a really swanky hotel. Oh, my God, it was amazing. I'm from a working class family and Irish Catholic, so you know there are a lot of kids. Not to say stereotypes, but come on. So we did it when we traveled. We would stay in the Motel 666. It's really evil, people. So we would stay in motel, so being in this fancy hotel was amazing. I couldn't believe how lucky I got. There was a king-size bed. I started jumping on that bed like I was a 5-year-old. And then the bed started talking to me. It was like, come on, sit on my face. You know you want to. So I did. And then after the fun of all that, I decided, you know what? It's a beautiful fall night. Let me go for a walk. So I went for a walk, and just by chance, I happened to stumble into the gay part of town. Thank you, sir. So, by chance... Oh, God. So I stumbled into the gay part of town. And I walked into this bar that didn't card me, and I couldn't believe it because I was 19 at the time, and I looked like I was 14. Like I still had buck teeth, people. So I went there, and this place was popping, people, like my peas. It was amazing. They were jam-packed in there. You couldn't squeeze through. Wherever you went, it was dicks on ass on dicks. It was fun times. So I grabbed a drink, and I was just dancing around, woo-woo. And and I went up to the bathroom to relieve myself. And as I was walking in, this guy was walking out, and he really wasn't much to look at. Like, I think he had a pot belly. He was a little balding, but he paid attention to me. And as a disabled kid who really didn't find himself that attractive and think he wasn't worth anything, that meant a lot. So, he said, hi. I said, hi. And he was like, you want to get out of here? And I'm like, okay. And really, that was the exact conversation. Verbatim. No, not really. So we got out of there, and we went back to his place. And when we went back to his place, we go into his bedroom, and we're doing things. And he starts to try to talk me into having anal sex. And I'm no prude, trust me. But I've never had anal sex before. And it was, I thought to myself, well, YOLO, but YOLO didn't exist back then, so I got the copyright. I was like, let's try it. It's an experience. So so we get naked and we get in bed, and he was like, why don't you get on top? And I thought, okay, that's safer, right? Because I'm not in a vulnerable position, blah, blah, blah. And I get on top, and he puts a condom on, and he shoves himself inside me, and I yell, stop, stop. And that just makes him go that much harder and that much faster. And he wouldn't stop until he came. And then after he came, he pushed me off him. And after he pushed me off him, he was done with me. He laid back in the bed. This was before cell phones, so I had no idea where the hell I was. And I said to him, I have no idea where I am. Can you help me get back to my hotel? Most of the night is a blur. Like, I don't want to remember that time, but this is what I remember. He looked at me and he waved me off. He goes, no, I'm not helping you. Someone else can help you outside. And so, I'm getting dressed awkwardly, and I'm going outside, and I find this guy who is nice enough to tell me where my hotel was. And I get back to the hotel, and I'm devastated. Like, this hotel that I loved just 3 hours ago was now like a prison cell. I had nowhere to go. I had just had one of the most traumatic experiences of my life, and I did not know what was going on. So I thought, let me take a bath, because that'll make everything feel better. So I get in the bathtub, I run it, and it's boiling hot just the way I like it. And I step in the bathtub and I go, oh, ah. Like, it feels really good. And like, it must have started to loosen me up, because all of a sudden I lost control and outspat feces and blood, and just there I am sitting in a tub full of feces and blood and crying to myself. I don't know how I got here. So there was, I had to, run the shower now. And I get out of the tub, and it's now about 2 a.m., and I have to be up in 4 hours to get ready to go to the Holocaust Museum. So I go to bed, and I'm lying in bed, and for like 10, 20, 30 minutes, I can't really think. I can't fall asleep. I'm just lying there. How did such a nice night turn into this? And I move forward, and I go to sleep, and I wake up the next day, and I go to the Holocaust Museum, and I put everything out of my mind. And I'm walking around the Holocaust Museum, and I'm looking at these people who have really lost their lives and died a tragic death, and they were discarded. And at that moment, I felt discarded. So I really felt like I had something in common, and I could relate, and I felt like I could heal through watching those stories. And the funny thing about all this is it affected me in so many different ways you could never believe. Like it affected the way I had sex with people. Like I think I didn't bottom again for like 5 years. But when I would have sex with people, I was super concerned about them. Like, even if it was a stranger I just met or was standing up with, like, I was super, is this okay? Are you okay? Like, and it really made me feel like I was not going to treat anyone like I was treated. There were a lot of lessons I learned back then. And the one lesson I learned was, like, I am not a victim. Like, I could not say ever that I was raped. I do what most funny people do when something tragic happens to them. I turn it into a hell of a story. I started telling people about the time I started shitting in the bathtub after a fun night out. And like, it wasn't until I was in a relationship in my 30s where I felt safe enough that I was able to finally admit that I was raped. And that's what it was. And up until then, I could never say that out loud. Even now, I couldn't believe I submitted this story to Risk. This story of all stories. I got so many other shitty stories. But like I said, we can really heal through telling our stories. Right now, I'm a stand-up comic, and I also I'm a social worker, and I also work as a psychotherapist. I have a private practice, and I work a lot with sexual abuse survivors. And do you know, there's, like, I was looking for it, there are really no statistics for men who'd been raped, because no man wants to admit that. No man. And it's ignored. And thank you. And it's ignored. No man wants to be the victim. Well, I told this story from a place of strength, and thank you for letting me tell it.